Alright class, so this is number 1 in your homework. Thought I'd send this out in case you're having some issues. Maybe this will help you get through the rest of them. Okay, so this is number 1 on your homework, 5, 6x minus 6 equals 24. Okay, I'm going to show you two ways. I'm going to show you the way that we did in the beginning, and then I'll show you the clearing fractions way. So whichever way you used, I guess, would be the part of this video that I'd watch. So if we're just going to do it by solving, okay, remember you want to start and you want to do, please excuse my dear and Sally backwards. So any adding and subtracting first. And as you can see, I got some subtracting here, so I'm going to add plus 6 to both sides. Gives you 30 equals 5 over 6x. Okay, now I don't have any adding or subtracting left, so I want to move up to multiplying and dividing. I do have some multiplication here, so I'm going to undo it with some division. Okay, and remember, when we divide, we can also just do the reciprocal and multiply. So 6 over 5, and then also 6 over 5, and I'll throw that over 1 as well, so I can multiply. This cancels out, and you're left with x. And over here, you're going to get 180, because 30 times 6 is 180. And then you're going to get 1 times 5 is 5. And then that reduces down to 180 divided by 5 equals 36. So x should equal 36. So then when I check that, I'm just going to put 36 in for x. I'm going to go ahead and put this in for x up here and rewrite it here. So I got 6 times 36 over 1. I'll put it over 1. Minus 6 equals 24. Alright, so then I want to go 36 times 5, which is 180. And then 6 times 1 here is 6. And now I rewrite the rest of it. Minus 6 equals 24. Okay, and now I want to go ahead and actually do this. 180 over 6 minus 6. Okay. And first, actually, 180 can be reduced down. 180 divided by 6 is 30. So 30 minus 6 should equal 24. And you're all proficient, subtractors. 30 minus 6 is definitely 24, equals 24. So it worked that way. Alright, now this is the same problem. This is still number 1. Now I'm going to show you the other way, which is when you can clear the fractions. Okay, so when you clear these fractions, your goal is to get this problem written without any fractions. Okay, so there's a couple things you have to do. First, you want to find basically the lowest common denominator between all of these. Okay, so first let's give these denominators. 6 is the same thing as 6 over 1. 24 is the same thing as 24 over 1. So now, as you can see, 6, 1, and 1, my lowest common denominator. Well, 6 can go into 6, 1 can go into 6, and 1 can go into 6. So I can multiply them all by that, and that will eventually clear them. So I'm going to multiply this 1 by 6 times 6, and I'm going to put over 1 here, and then multiply this by 6 and this by 6. Okay, I know it's hard for you guys to see. So when I do that, 5 times 6 is 30, and then 6 times 1 is 6, minus 6 times 6 is 36. You don't have to put it over 1, you can if you want. Equals 24 times 6 is 144. Okay, now I know I haven't cleared my fractions yet because I still have a fraction here, but this actually is also a whole number because 6 can go into 30 5 times. So you end up with 5 minus 36 equals 144. Now hopefully you guys have caught my error at this point. I have forgotten to carry down my x, so this needs an x by it. If you didn't have your x there, then you have a whole different problem, which would not be good. Okay, so now we're here. My goal is accomplished. I've cleared my fraction. Okay, now it's just, again, order of operations backwards to solve. So any adding, subtracting first. Plus 36 plus 36. You end up with 180 equals 5x, and then you can divide both sides by 5, and you end up with x equals 36. And as you saw in the last problem, that would check, so 36 would equal 36. Two different ways of doing it. Alright, so the first thing, this is, by the way, number 6 on your homework assignment now. This is kind of a tough one. It took me a while to figure out. Those of you who know me, I'm not the most math-minded person, so I'll try to talk you through how I finally figured it out. So the first thing I like to do is figure out what my variable is going to be. Okay, so when I do that, I kind of just go through and I read it and I try to figure out what are we actually trying to figure out here. What do we not know? So Lauren goes to the expedition and spent a total of $144. We already know our total. We'll talk about that in a second. Maybe I'll underline that. She purchased some wooden antiques for $70. She purchased a table for $44 and 2 chairs. The chairs cost the same. What is the cost of the chair? So we are trying to figure out what is the cost of the chair. What is cost of one chair? Okay, and then there's some other really important information, but our variable is going to be C for chairs. You could use any other variable you felt like. I like to use the first letter of what the word starts with, but you don't have to. You could use X, Y, Z, T, whatever. So C equals chairs. That we do not know how much they were. We just know some other stuff. So now let's try to set up our equation. Always have an equal sign in an equation. That's why it's called equation. You know what your total is. I underlined it up here. Total, you spent $144. So that's going to stand alone on one side. 144. Okay, we don't need to use our dollar signs in the equation. We also know that she purchased some wooden antiques for $70. That is not an unknown. $70 for the chairs, or for the wooden antiques, I should say. We also know that she purchased a table for $44. What we don't know is how much the chairs were. We have no idea. That's going to be our C, but there's 2 of them, so we're going to put 2C, because however much one chair is, you multiply it by 2, so 2C. And all that together we know has to equal our total 144. So from here you can solve. First, you want to combine like terms, 70 and $44. You can combine those. That would give you $114. And then just bring everything else down. So plus 2C equals 144, and now just solve. So now we're going to do the order of operations opposite. Okay, so any adding, subtracting first. We'll have a positive 114 here, so I'm going to get rid of it by subtracting 114. And that leaves you with 4 minus 4 is 0, 3, 0. That leaves you with $30. Actually, it leaves you with, guess what I forgot here? This is 30 cents. This is 30 cents. So this needs to also be 30 cents. So 30, 33. 30, 30. Sorry. And that equals over here. This cancels off, so you're left with 2C. Okay. And then from here, there's no adding, subtracting left. Move up. The opposite of order operations, multiplication, division. We do have some multiplication here. You get rid of multiplication by dividing by 2. Divide by 2. So 1 chair equals 30 divided by 2 is 15. 30 divided by 2 is 15. So $15.15 equals 1 chair. And you have answered your question with that. Hopefully that helps you talk, or helps you hear that talk through. Good luck on your homework tonight.